thought I was the only one with the jokes. Thanks for that, Katie. That was awesome. This is really difficult. While I'm having technical difficulties, I gotta say, this has been... Wait for it. This is not part of the stand-up, by the way. I swear I'm funnier than this. That was not funny. Okay, well, it's only up from that joke. Cool. That's an awesome way to start. Not really sure how to do that. If Rin or Jared would like to help me a little bit, that would be awesome. Woo! Yeah, good job. Yes, that is perfect. Cool. Alright. Well, yeah, I gotta say, I did not expect when I came to open mic night to be able to jam out to Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, a ukulele version of Ring of Fire. That was awesome. I can just die happy right now. I don't even need to do this. But my name is Gabe Garcia. I'm going to be doing a little stand-up. I gotta give you a little disclaimer. These are all jokes, so don't take them too literally. I'm just up here trying to make y'all laugh and not cry, so think about that. I'm going to be retelling some jokes because I'm being recorded right now, so if you've heard the jokes before, you're welcome. But right now, seriously, it's a lot of fun being on stage. It reminds me of when I was a little kid and like praise and worship and everything. One of my favorite songs was always, I don't know if y'all ever heard it, it's like, we bring a sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. Raise your hands, how many of y'all ever heard that? That's a lot more than last time, I think. That's awesome. So y'all actually know that song. I love that song because after church every Sunday, we'd go to my grandparents' house. And they'd always have bean dips and Fritos and everything. So it was awesome. It was like heaven after church every Sunday. And so whenever I'd go to church and I'd hear that song, it's like, we bring a sacrifice of praise. I always heard it made sense in my mind. Like, we bring a sack of Frito-Lays into the house of the Lord. So it's like, of course I'd bring Fritos to God. It's like, here you go, God. They're delicious. Try it with bean dip. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. That's awesome. But especially growing up, like I always heard, like joking, like, oh, whenever you find a perfect church, like don't join it. You'll mess it up. Just stay away from it. Just avoid it at all costs. It's perfect church. Because we just aren't perfect people growing up. I found that out, especially, I went to a small private Christian school, and I loved it, you know, first grade till I graduated, and it's awesome because I was a graduating class of 36 kids. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, right? No, that's how most people react, honestly. They're like, 36 kids? Oh my gosh, like how did you adjust to society? Like this is electricity. Welcome from under your rock. It's like they treat you like I'm Amish or something. It's like, I'm from San Antonio. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but I really did. One of the things that I got to benefit from being here at Texas State is a few weeks ago was homecoming, and I got to represent the BSM for the top 4. Thank you. Oh, please, stop, please. And it's really cool, especially because I didn't even get to be homecoming court when I was in school and everything in high school. And being here at Texas State, like I learned quite a bit more. That I got 3rd runner-up, which, for example, means a nice way to say last place. I learned that a bit of the hard way. That was a little rough. But especially going to a private Christian school and growing up in a church, you know, there's always the times where, you know, you're in church and you're trying to pay attention, especially when the pastor has a long prayer. So sometimes you're just sitting there, you know, sometimes holding hands with other people and just trying to stay awake, just have the head bob, and then after a little while you start to realize, like, who am I actually holding hands with? And you haven't been paying attention at all during church, so you don't even know. And kind of open your eyes, you know, glance, because it's a sin if you open your eyes during a prayer. Everybody knows that since you're a little kid. That's why you always just... Okay, nobody really thought that was funny. Apparently it's not a sin. I was told the wrong version of the Bible, I guess. My bad. Especially when you look to your left and you find, like, you're basically holding hands with Grizzly Adams, and you just, I don't know if he has a pool as a hand or something, but it's like Schlitterbahn over there. And then you kind of look to your right and you realize, oh no, you're holding hands with like the hot girl at church. There's always like one girl at church where it's like, oh, it's that girl, and you're holding her hand, it's like, man, this is pretty serious, actually. We're putting hands in church. Like, married couples don't even always do that, you know? It's like, this is real serious. And then you're thinking, like, oh, I hope that's her hand that's, like, Shalidabon and not me, because I'm not nervous at all. I bet she's nervous holding hands with me. And then you're thinking, like, after the end of the prayer, you're just like, you know, how can I talk to her, you know? I mean, she's like that girl at church. And you're thinking in your head, like, what can I try and say? I'm tripping on this chord. What can I try and say to her after the prayer? It's like, so, how about that Jesus guy, right? Glad he died for my sins, you know what I'm saying? There's no real good way to try and ask someone out at the end of church, and, you know, I've learned that the hard way, you know? Like, so, which lovely lady would like to go out at the end of this, you know, grab something to drink, you know?
Who are you asking?
Who, what? Who am I asking? Really, anyone that responds at this point. That's how lonely I am. It's awesome. Oh, yeah, it's actually a very true joke. It's a little close to home. Oh, I laughed to hide the tears. But maybe I should try and narrow down my approach and actually, like, ask a nice girl out, you know, take her to dinner and a movie. But I don't want to have to take out a student loan to take a girl out. That's just way too much work. I'm just going to go home, play with my dog. She's the only girl I need in my life. She's going to love me forever, no matter what. Yeah, Landon's like, preach it, brother. Preach it. Oh, my dog, I love her so much, especially because whenever anything bad is going on around the house or there's a stranger, she's going to be barking, you know, protecting me. But it's terrifying when she's trying to protect me at like 5 o'clock in the morning, when she's growling like there's an actual like spirit in the room. And it doesn't help that I've been watching Paranormal Activity lately. That's just always a bad idea. Paranormal Activity is like the Where's Waldo of horror movies. They just give you a screen with everything possible happening, and you're like, you have to find where the demon is. And then it's like, I don't want to find it, but there's nowhere else for me to look. I'm not paying $10 to close my eyes. That's not happening. And then you find it, you're like, now I'm upset at myself for paying $10 to scare the crap out of myself. It's not a good feeling. But especially, whenever that happens, whenever you're scared, you feel like you have to do that to other people, you know? And especially, for about 17 years, I was the youngest of 3 brothers. So of course, it's my job, it's my God-given right to pick on my older brothers. It just makes sense. And who is a younger sibling, especially a younger brother? It's your God-given right to pick on them, right? And me and my cousin Kenny, we took full liberty of that God-given right. I remember one evening we were playing video games, and my brother went to the bathroom, you know, it was late in the evening, and me and my cousin, without saying a single word, like we had telepathy or something, we just looked at each other. Just in a matter of like 3 seconds, turn off every single light in the entire house, and we stand on opposite sides of the doorway to the bathroom as my brother is just sitting in there. So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, every light in the house is off. My brother just comes out and he just stops. Like we see each other, he just stops. Gabe? Kimmy? I know you're out there, this isn't funny anymore. You can come out now, I'm not scared. So we're just standing on opposite sides, just like trying to hold it in, like there's no way we're gonna bust, like we're in this for the long haul. And so he's just like, okay, you can come out. It's not funny, I'm gonna call Mom. That's everybody's like last resort, just like, I'm telling Mom and Dad, you're gonna be in trouble. It's like, whatever, you still have to get out first. So then he's still in the bathroom, and we hear him like just close and mess with the closet door. It's like, what is he doing? So he comes out, and so here's the doorway. He comes out just flailing a towel, trying to hit us in the face, and it makes perfect sense. Because if we're waiting to scare the crap out of him, we're going to be waiting right at the door frame. And so he's hitting us in the face with the towel. And so we were committed. We could have been like Oscar-winning actors at the age of like 10 and 11, like me and my cousin. It was awesome. We were perfect. And so we're holding character, and then after a little while, like, we're getting sick of hitting them in the face with a towel. So we just look at each other, just like, and we turn, and in my brother's defense, it sounded like a combination of like 2 velociraptors coming at him. My hands were just kind of, even thinking back of what I did to him, I'm still scared about how smart that was as a 10-year-old. Just like, who does something that terrifies to their brother at such an early age. And my brother, of course, because they're so terrifying, I mean, 2 velociraptors, falls down. And, yeah, he was crying profusely. What a little baby. Sorry, Russ. But especially sometimes you come to church and, you know, well, you're always supposed to be nice to people, but especially at church sometimes. And sometimes there's that person at church that's, it's a little difficult to be around sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh, you love Jesus, I love Jesus too. That means we're like best friends, right? You're just kind of thinking to yourself, yeah, you know, Jesus would be their friend. I should be their friend. But I'm not Jesus. I'd make a terrible Jesus. No one would believe in me. And so, it's okay to admit that. We can never live up to Jesus' standards. We can't be him. That's how bad that joke was. I could hear the floorboard creak. That's reassuring. And so you're kind of hanging out with them sometimes, and it's like, I'm so glad you understand me. Like everybody else in the world, they just don't understand me because I'm a Christian. They just think I'm annoying because of my faith. And it's like, they don't think you're annoying because you're a Christian. They think you're annoying because you're kind of annoying. It's nothing to do with the fact that you're a Christian. It's okay. We've all been there thinking like, am I that person? I want people to like me, but still practice my faith. It's okay, we've been there. Everybody's been there. It's okay. But especially sometimes when you're hanging out at church, you know, some people, you know, I tell them like, yeah, you know, I go to this church, I go to the BSM, and so sometimes I get the question like, oh, okay, you go to church, like, okay, I got a question for you. Are you pro-gay? It's like, am I pro-gay? I'm not even amateur gay. I didn't know they had a league. Women think about that. They've been making advancements in the community, all right? I wonder who the leading scorer for that league is. It's the gay version of Kobe or LeBron. Neil Patrick Harris, actually. That's my guy. He's awesome in How I Met Your Mother. Must translate in real life. That's all I'm saying. But I'd say one of the biggest things that I really hate admitting to people, you always hate admitting what you're scared of. My biggest thing, nobody ever respects it. I'm terrified of cats. I don't like, yeah, see, that's why I don't, but see, I have this invisible barrier on stage to protect me from your insults. It's great, just don't throw anything through it because it's not a good barrier. But I hate telling people that I'm scared of cats because like, oh, you're scared of cats? You haven't played with my cat before. Dog, why didn't you just get a dog? And they're just like, here, just sit, you're just sitting down, like, throw it on your lap. It's like, just play with it. It's like, why would you, if somebody was claustrophobic, you wouldn't be like, oh, you don't like closets? You haven't been in my closet before. I swear, it's like a field. You can run around everywhere. No, that's not how you treat phobias. That is not okay. Oh, it's just a terrible thing to do. But I do have to say, after this and everything, just congratulate everybody who was on stage. You know, it takes a lot to be up here. It can be nerve-wracking. You basically bearing your soul for everyone to see, and there can be a lot of ups and downs, you know? I don't have a joke for that. I just really needed to get it off my chest. That was the actual joke, if y'all were wondering. No, you'll think about it later. Just put it in your pocket and be like, oh, that's the joke. No, it's still not happening. Okay. I'm just gonna... See, I gotta admit, I've always wanted to do that to feel like a real comedian. Because every real comedian has like their bottle of water on stage and everything, but I'm not a real comedian because I had to buy that bottle of water myself. But it's a thought that counts. What I'm trying to aspire to, alright? It's, I need an agent. That's what I need. I'm not getting what I need from the BSM. Hint, hint, interns. Retainer. Okay, yeah, I don't know what that means. Alright, never mind. One of the things though, are there any Texans fans in the house? Texans, yeah, I'm a huge Texans fan. Because I'm from San Antonio, you know? Because that makes sense. We got the Spurs. Yeah, see? Maybe I should have led with that part of the joke instead. But a few weeks ago, I was at Harper's, one of the bars in the square and everything. I was hanging out with some of my friends, and especially being leadership, you know, trying to set an example. So when I was there, I'm not necessarily proud to admit this, but I was throwing back waters like it was water, basically. And I was pretty hydrated, not gonna lie. It was not safe for me to drive. I'm just gonna say that. I was going to the bathroom every 10, 15 minutes, which sounds about right when you're throwing back any sort of drink, especially water. That just flushes you right out. That's probably too much information for you as well. But especially whenever it comes to getting proper nutrition and everything, one of the things I noticed most is whenever you're on campus and everything, there's a huge difference between living in an apartment or the residence halls compared to living at home with your parents. Like when you're home with your parents, you take an apple or banana, any type of food from the fridge or anywhere. You wake up the next day and it's basically refilled automatically. It's like there's a magical food fairy there. And it's like, why does every adult have this? I want to go, I can't wait till I'm old so I have my own food fairy. And then you find out, oh, that costs money. And that's why I don't have it here in my mess hall or apartment. Oh, that's why I'm eating ramen noodles every night for dinner, which is awesome. Which I took a nutrition class last semester. Ramen noodles is not one of the 4 major food groups. Found that out. Nobody told me. So I was like, I thought I was getting my daily vitamins and minerals. Instead, I was eating cardboard. I expected more laughs for that joke, I'm not gonna lie. But especially sometimes you think to yourself, you hear from a lot of people oh, college, these are the best years of your life. I had cheese last night for dinner. How was it uphill after college? That's really depressing. How do you think about that? And you hear from everyone oh, go follow your dreams. That's why you're here, carpe diem. I'm too tired to follow my dreams. I'm just going to ask where they're going and just meet up with them later. I got 8 a.m. this semester. This is way too exhausting to keep up with everything. Oh. That's actually all I have. So, thank you. Tip your waitress. See you next semester.